You are never sent here to search, strive, or chase after anything. You were not commanded to beg for your place in the world. You came forth from divine imagination, not to be a seeker of permission, but a revealer of truth. When the world says, "Go find a job," it speaks from fear. It speaks from a belief in limitation, separation, and survival. But when God speaks, it is not with noise or commands. It is with a quiet certainty, a knowing that rests deep within your soul. You are not here to look for a job. You are here to remember your power. The voice of God does not urge you to conform to systems. It urges you to awaken. You are not here to labor under obligation. You are here to become, to imagine, to create. You are not subject to economic conditions, markets, or titles. You are subject only to your state of consciousness, and it is that state which shapes your world. So when you hear the divine whisper, "Don't look for a job," it is not rebellion, it is revelation. It is the invitation to stop identifying as a seeker and to begin living as a creator. You are not made to look for work. You are here to be the work, the expression of divine intention made visible in form. God's command is not written in policies, nor spoken by employers, governments, or institutions. It is not printed on job listings or announced in meetings. The true command of God is silent, internal, and deeply personal. It does not instruct you to seek external validation through employment, but instead urges you to awaken to your inherent creative power. To understand this, you must first let go of the idea that the outer world holds the authority over your destiny. The only true authority is within. When we hear the phrase "God said," we often imagine it to mean a dramatic intervention, a voice from the clouds, or a prophecy uttered by someone outside ourselves. But in truth, divine communication happens in stillness, in that quiet certainty within your own being. It does not demand, threaten, or push. It reveals. It speaks through desire, intuition, knowing. That is the language of the divine. That is where true instruction is found. "Don't look for a job" is not a call to laziness or passivity. It is not a rejection of responsibility or provision. It is a radical invitation to stop looking outside for what already exists within. A job may be one possible channel for your abundance, but it is never the source. God is not in the system. God is in the self. The divine call is not to follow the crowd or bow to the pressures of economy and expectation. The call is to rise, to align with the truth that your value, your purpose, your very being is not dependent on what the world offers you, but on what you embody from within. Most people wake up each day burdened by the belief that they must go and find something in order to survive, a job, a role, a position. They believe life starts when opportunity knocks. But the spiritual law reveals something entirely different. Life begins when you assume the role you were created to express. You do not wait to be chosen. You choose. You do not wait for doors. You walk through the ones you build in consciousness. This keynote is about shifting from seeking to knowing, from trying to find purpose through employment to realizing purpose is something you carry and emanate. If God were to speak clearly to you right now, you would not be told to apply, search, or hustle. You would be reminded, you are already that which you seek to become. Stop searching for employment to validate your worth. Instead, turn inward. What has been whispered to your heart? What vision has been planted in your imagination? That is the voice of God, and it is saying, create, express, be, don't look for a job, look within. Imagination is not a childish escape. It is the divine workshop of creation. When you are told, don't look for a job, it is not because work is wrong, but because the real work takes place long before any action is taken. The true labor is internal. The outer job may be a result, but the cause is always within. Imagination is the power that forms reality, and most people have forgotten that this faculty is not passive. It is the very substance of the unseen made visible. Everything you have ever experienced first existed as an image, consciously or unconsciously, in your mind. Before a company hired you, before a paycheck arrived, before you took any position or title, there was first a belief, a self-concept, an expectation. That expectation was imagined. Whether shaped by fear or by faith, it was imagination that paved the way. To seek a job without first mastering imagination is to build a house with no foundation. You may find yourself busy, even employed, but never fulfilled. That is because real fulfillment does not come from what you do, it comes from who you believe you are. And that belief is sculpted in imagination. The divine does not instruct you to chase jobs, but to enter the state of already being the one who lacks nothing. From that state, jobs, opportunities, connections, and resources flow, not as something earned, but as something met. When you engage your imagination deliberately, you stop trying to get and begin to create. You don't beg the world for recognition. You live from the place that says, I am already it. To imagine is to activate the law of assumption. It means choosing a vision of self that matches your desired outcome and living from that vision as if it were already true. It means closing your eyes to appearances and opening your awareness to what is real in consciousness. That is the true work. That is the only job God ever gave you. The world calls this wishful thinking, but spiritual law calls it faith. And faith is not belief in something uncertain. It is the knowing that what is held in imagination with conviction will solidify into form. You are not required to know how it will happen. You are only required to remain faithful to the image, just as a seed planted in soil needs no help in breaking through only the right environment. Your imagined state needs only your steady inner attention. You are the soil, your assumption is the seed, the harvest will come. So before you ask, what job should I get, ask instead, what image of myself am I nurturing? Because that image is the architect of your world. God's direction is not found in resumes or applications, but in vision. That is why the true job isn't found. It's created through the mastery of imagination. You were not created to chase results. You were created to express a state. The divine instruction is not to work hard to become something, but to assume the identity of what you already are in truth. The world tells you to take massive action, but the higher law speaks differently. It says, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and let all action flow from that state, not to make it happen, but to express what is already done. This is the sacred reversal. Instead of believing you must earn, prove, or qualify yourself through effort, you are invited to step directly into being. You don't become wealthy by working for wealth. You become wealthy by feeling as one who is already abundant. You don't become successful by seeking recognition. You live as one who already knows their worth. It is not the action that creates the outcome. It is the identity assumed that shapes the entire journey. When you truly assume the identity of the person you desire to be, something subtle but profound happens. You stop looking for things and begin living from them. You no longer search for opportunities. You radiate the energy that causes them to appear. You no longer ask, what must I do to get there? Because you have already arrived in consciousness, and once you arrive there within, everything outside must bend to reflect that inner state. Most people live in reverse. They act first, hoping their actions will change how they feel. They apply for jobs, take on roles, complete tasks, all in the hope that it will eventually create security, fulfillment, or self-worth. But the law is exact. You cannot experience on the outside what you have not first accepted on the inside. The outer world is not the cause. It is the echo. The only way to change it is to shift your self-concept. Assumption is not pretending. It is not fantasy. It is a disciplined act of inner knowing. It is the conscious decision to accept that you already are what you desire to be. This is not mental delusion. It is spiritual alignment. When you walk as the person you choose to be, speak from that place, think from that place, and respond to the world from that place, the world cannot help but reflect it back to you. It is law. So the real invitation is this: stop trying to act your way into identity. Assume the identity first, not because you've earned it, but because it is already yours in the invisible. The state of being precedes everything. It draws to itself all the people, circumstances, and actions required. It is magnetic. The job is not to find the path. It is to be the destination now. You were not asked to labor for your identity. You were told to accept it, and once you accept it, to walk in it with confidence. You are not here to do in order to be. You are here to be, and let the doing follow. This is how creation works, from within outward, from assumption to expression. Looking for a job, for most people, is not an act of creation. It is an act rooted in fear. It is a response to the belief that something is missing, that we are incomplete, that we must search the world to find a place, a purpose, or a provision. But this mentality is not aligned with divine truth. The job-seeking mindset, when driven by lack, affirms a dangerous illusion. I do not have enough, and I am not enough until something outside of me changes. The law of consciousness teaches the opposite. It says, you already are, you already have, you already know. The only thing separating you from your desired life is the belief that it exists somewhere else, that it must be earned, achieved, or given by another. This belief is the very definition of lack, and as long as you operate from that vibration, you will continue to manifest experiences that reflect it. When you pursue a job because you believe you must be rescued from lack, you are not answering a divine calling. You are responding to a lie. You are not a beggar. You are not a servant to circumstance. You are a creator, and creation does not begin with a resume, it begins with identity. When you know who you are, and when you live from that knowing, the outer world has no choice but to reorganize around your inner conviction. God does not speak in desperation. The divine never instructs from scarcity. When the voice within whispers, "Don't look for a job," it is not telling you to be idle. It is telling you to wake up. It is calling you to leave behind the identity of the seeker and step into the reality of the source. For you are not here to chase provision. You are provision. You are the vessel through which divine power flows, and lack cannot exist where power is realized. You are not designed to worry, to plead, to knock on doors hoping to be chosen. That is the old story. That is the system of separation. But the truth is, you are already chosen. You are already qualified, not because of what you've done, but because of what you are. And when you embody the consciousness of fullness, when you act, speak, and think from the awareness that you are already whole, then what the world calls a job will appear not as a rescue, but as a reflection. Everything you attract while in a state of lack will only reinforce lack, but everything you draw from a state of inner abundance will serve your expansion. The job is not the source. God is the source, and God expresses through your state of being. So don't chase roles to fill a hole inside you. Fill that space with truth. Fill it with vision. Fill it with the unshakable knowing that what you seek is already within you. Then the need to search will vanish, and in its place a new energy will rise. an energy that magnetizes, attracts, and commands the resources of the world to meet you where you already are, whole, worthy, and overflowing. You are not a victim of the world. You are the operant power. That simple yet profound truth is the foundation of all spiritual law. No outer authority determines your reality. No employer, no economy, no system, no past experience has the final say. Only your consciousness creates. Only your inner state has the power to shape your world. The moment you accept this, everything changes. Not just your results, but your identity. Most people live as though life is happening to them. They wait for conditions to improve, for opportunities to appear, for someone to recognize their value. This waiting posture is not only disempowering, it is an illusion. You are not here to be chosen. You are here to choose. You are not here to wait for instructions. You are the one who sets the direction through what you assume, believe, and embody. To say you are the operant power is not motivational, it is law. Whatever you consistently believe about yourself, you will experience. If you believe that jobs are hard to find, life will confirm that belief. If you believe you must hustle and struggle for success, your world will mirror that. But if you shift into the knowing that your inner world governs the outer, then you no longer fear circumstances. You shape them. This is why looking for a job from a place of powerlessness contradicts your true nature. It places you beneath something you were created to be above. It assumes the system is greater than the source within you. But when you realize you are the operant power, you stop asking for permission to succeed. You stop hoping someone will give you a chance. You begin to live from the truth that all chance, all opportunity, all movement flows from you, not to you. To embody this truth, you must take full responsibility for your state of being. Not in guilt, but in power. Responsibility is not blame, it is ownership. When you own your consciousness, you realize you are not limited by anything but your assumptions. Change those, and your entire world must respond. The world is a mirror, and you are the one holding the image. If you feel unworthy, undervalued, or stuck, the mirror will reflect that. But if you claim your inner authority, if you dare to assume you are already the person who lives in abundance, purpose, and fulfillment, then life will reflect that too. You are the cause, not the effect. You are the center, not the periphery. The world conforms to your dominant state. So stop looking to systems for your salvation. Stop waiting for approval. Stop thinking someone else controls your outcome. There is no they. There is only you. Your awareness, your belief, your assumption. And the moment you truly know this, you walk differently. You speak with power. You no longer chase. You attract. You no longer beg, you command. You no longer doubt. You know this is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is remembering what has always been true. The power is not out there. It is in you. You were never meant to chase after the means. You were meant to rest in the end. This is one of the most powerful principles in the creative process. Assume the outcome and let the bridge of incidents unfold naturally. When you are told, don't look for a job, it is not a call to laziness. It is a call to mastery. It is an invitation to live from the fulfillment of your desire, rather than obsessing over the steps that might get you there. The world has taught you to worry about how. It tells you to plan, predict, and push. But spiritual law asks something different, that you dwell in the end, the final state of your desire already realized. From that place the means will come, not because you forced them, but because they were magnetized to your state of being. You are not here to build the bridge. You are here to stand on the other side, knowing it will appear beneath your feet. This means you stop waking up every day wondering what you should do to get a job, make money, or gain recognition. You begin instead by asking, "Who would I be if it were already done?" And then you become that version of yourself inwardly. You feel what they would feel, think as they would think, speak as they would speak. You rest in that identity, not as a wish, but as a fact. To rest in the end is not passive. It requires faith. It requires discipline of mind and feeling. It asks you to ignore appearances and trust the unseen. But this rest is not stillness without power. It is stillness with power. It is the stillness of knowing that once a thing is claimed in consciousness, the entire universe responds to bring it into form. So when you are tempted to look for the next step, to worry about timing, to chase after jobs and opportunities, remember this: the end contains the means. If you live fully from the state of the person who already has what they desire, the necessary connections, ideas, and resources will unfold in perfect sequence. This is not fantasy, it is law. The seed already holds the shape of the tree. The state already contains the path. You do not need to force outcomes. You do not need to beg for doors to open. The state you dwell in is what creates the doors. It's not about trying harder, it's about resting deeper. Not in laziness, but in faith. True faith is confidence in the unseen, the willingness to remain loyal to the end, even when the means are not yet visible. This is the divine strategy. See the result, live in it, and trust the invisible hand to bring everything else into alignment. Jobs may come, new roles may appear, but they are no longer your focus. Your only work is to dwell in the end, and from that inner state the world must conform, not because you fought for it, but because you rested in it as true. You were never told to strive, to chase, or to struggle. The divine message has always been clear, though few dare to believe it. You are the source, not the seeker. The idea that you must look for a job to prove your worth, to survive, or to find your place in this world is a distortion of your true purpose. You are not here to find meaning in a title. You are here to express meaning through your being. This speech has not told you to reject work, but to redefine it. Work is not something you look for. It is something that flows through you when you align with who you truly are. Your job is not out there waiting for you. Your job is to become, to assume, to imagine, and to rest in the end result of your desire. From there, the world will mirror what you have accepted as true within. Imagination is your tool. Assumption is your act of creation. Awareness is your power, and rest is your proof of faith. You are the operant power. Life does not happen to you, it reflects from you. If you believe yourself to be lacking, you will live in lack. But if you believe yourself to be fulfilled, complete, and divinely provided for, life will organize around that belief. So stop looking for a job from a place of need. Stop thinking your next role will finally make you enough. You are enough now, and from that truth, all that is aligned will come, not by force, but by law. What you embody, you attract. What you assume, you live. What you rest in, you create. God never said chase after job. God said, be still and know your power, know your value, know that your world is shaped by your state of being. So choose wisely, dwell consciously, create deliberately, and above all remember, you were not sent here to seek approval. You were sent here to embody the divine.